Hello, everyone. Welcome back, episode 2. Thank you for watching. I'm going to talk about the basics, um, things that people can do right away. I think that if you haven't done these things, I think they're pretty key, core aspects to learning how to feel better and move energy and not have stagnant energy. Um, I don't. I think we accept a lot of discomfort because everyone else does, and so we just assume that that's life rather than really face the feelings and deal with them head on. Um, Grounding, earthing. So martial arts can be a key to this, but there are energetic movements you can learn. Getting your shoes and socks off as often as possible and having your feet in contact with the earth is huge. If you have never felt the earth as a sentient being, it does take time, but it starts with you being willing to show up to her, considering that she is really that capable of reaching you through the earth, like, because she is the earth. I mean, the spirit of the earth is very available, right? But we often don't feel it unless we climb a mountain and we get to that silence. But it's available right here and now in my apartment on the fourth floor. I don't have any longer any need to go somewhere to fully connect to her. And so that's what I want for everybody. It's a huge breakthrough. It makes the matrix not a scary place anymore. Um, in fact, it's the Earth Mother that guides me through all of this, the smart cities and all that. There's nothing to run away from. Um, when you become magnetic, you determine what's going to happen to you. You start being the creator of the storyline because you're indifferent. You're willing to be in place, and you're willing to do what you're being guided to do. And so the dopest shit happens in your work life, just when you walk in the city, in the streets. The people I meet, I just walk and walk and walk and walk, and there are just most unique things occur. And I help people, and I go to places that most people wouldn't walk, and there's just so much going on in this world all the time. All the time. There's always an opportunity to have an absolute life changing experience in every moment, especially when you learn to wake up in the middle of the night for no reason and enjoy it. Because when everyone's asleep, you can move your perception a lot further. It's when this world is maintaining the perception throughout our day of our reality being so hard and so fear based and survival based. But it's really a magical realm that we've turned into something ridiculous. And everyone's just going along with it because everyone else is too, and nobody knows how to branch off away from that. And so it's like a conveyor belt. I mean, it's getting stupid now. A lot of you are going to start jumping off pretty soon, and you're gonna get hurt if you don't. If, you want to learn how to jump and fall, and so there's some training in that, and so it's time to start prepping for the transition from the projection that we were fulfilling, the dream spell that is dying now, as the media and all the revelation comes out of how out of balance things have been for so long. A lot of you are going to have a real challenge accepting how amazing the world really is. It sounds crazy, but it is hard to realize that you've been missing out for a long time and you've been living in these certain part of your system that isn't, activated and able therefore to like discern things. So you believe what you're told, and we all have. But we're going to have to start to learn how to just be like, in gnosis, in knowing, and that's what direct knowing is, and that only comes from learning the shamanic stuff or something similar, because it's a very unique occurrence to have the capacity to be that silent that you can go and keep looking and wait until there's true answer. There's always information available. It's just a matter of your lucidity and your willingness to receive that information. Um, so the basics are always something to return to. And so grounding, earthing, and really walking. So you can never walk enough. Shamans walk like a lot. Um, so and while you're walking, there's a way to walk, and it's amazing. And it'll change everything for you forever. I mean, it's literally that simple. How you walk can change your life forever. Um, so when you've done enough, you've reached enough silence, you can start to use silence as an opportunity in the way in which you travel, even in a car, right? So if you're driving along and you're at 65 miles an hour and you take the car out of the equation, you're just floating in a strange position a couple feet off the ground in a dream, cruising at high speeds and watching like, getting tracers and shit. And if you're able to allow your perception to really see that, which most people can't even do on psychedelics, so I'm not saying it's easy to do, but when you learn about that that gauge, that capacity to make that adjustment within yourself, you can turn a terrible moment into the most blissful moment of your life. For example, I was in an Uber before COVID hit. Um, I haven't been in any. I haven't done anything since. To be honest, the COVID world just showed me how unconscious everything is, and I didn't. I realized all the things I was doing were no longer things I needed to do. Completely revitalized and revamped the way I eat and live. Yeah. So, um, but amazing, amazing. I was in this Uber, and this man was playing the worst music I'd ever heard in my life, like just Korean pop of some sort that was just like so obnoxiously painful to me. But and the smells, he had like 30 of those air fresheners and then cologne, and like it was really really extreme, like to the point of like what the fuck, why would I do this? But I for whatever reason, spirit really showed me that opportunity, that moment, like my worst Uber ride ever turned into the greatest gift I've ever received in a vehicle, right? Like I was totally transcended. Spirit gave me a moment. I mean, it's not even spirit. It, the way things work is if we just get out of the way and you've already achieved the perception, it will return. So you don't have to track this stuff when you start navigating perception. You just start letting this stuff happen, and it magically does. Um, but there's a lot of trust that comes to along to get to that place for sure. But suddenly I was floating. There was no car. The music became beautiful because my death came in, and I felt how transitory we are, and that even though we live this really long life, if you think about it, it's a long life. But at the same time, it never even happened. Time is just so wicked like that. It just, once we're gone, we were never here. So when you're willing to be in that transitory place, you're willing to perceive your temporariness. For Toltecs, that's it. They say that's the only difference for them. The difference between what they're doing and what the rest of the world, what they perceive is happening, is they say they are beings who are going to die, and that the rest of us don't seem to know that. We behave as if we don't know that, and they've managed to hardwire that into their being, um, that they're mortal, and it seems so stupid and simple. But the reality is, some sort of hypnosis exists in this realm in which it keeps us from perceiving and feeling our death. which is a shame because your death is your greatest advisor. Your death is the only thing that will be honest with you. Your death is the only thing that is pushing you to evolve. Therefore, it's the only thing that actually cares about you. Life is the arena, death is the advisor. Because death is the player. So you got to get to know the player. And this is real shit. There is no next life to go fucking do this in, I promise you. It doesn't work like that. There's parallel lives. And every bit of effort you put into this one becoming a miracle will manifest into all the parallel lives that you're linked to forever and ever and ever, and they're infinite. And yeah, you're going to loop into other parallel lives in different ways and different timelines. And you're infinite, and your soul is the most incredible thing in the world, and it's indestructible. You are a miracle. So, knowing that, which is the armor of God, you walk and do and choose and intend your existence. You stop being distracted by catalogs and magazines and social media. You're going to extract your attention and go to the earth and learn how to ground. Take your shoes off in the cold, in the hot, get in the river more than you're doing now. And or, you can make adjustments, whatever works for you. For me, it went from rivers, cold to saunas. I just, for years I had to be in a sauna for hours to move the energy that I had to move. So learning to be able to handle heat, purification through sweat. Go to cedar saunas where you can stay in there for days once you get used to it. There's competitions for it. Quit your job, become a fucking sauna champion. I mean, they're actually, those dudes are badass. You just be around them and you pass out from the heat that they're just, seriously, it's a crazy art what people have got themselves into when they just focus on one thing. Um, but all of these purification things, they're real. Earthing's real. This is the basics. You got to move the energy. You can't have stagnant energy. That's what makes you, you know, it shows up, right? It shows up in your life. It manifests in all the things that you're doing, right? So we just want to get that energy to be broken up and moved. And so there's lots of ways to do that. But the basics, walking. So when you learn to walk in silence and you learn to look to the side and in front of you and to the other side of this all at the same time, and it forces you to be silent, and if you're really doing it, because otherwise you just sort of like go into tunnel vision, and so this capacity to really like be aware like an animal, right? You even can like like pretend you're a dog, and you can go to wolf, and if you need to access your animal, do it, and figure out how to be. A lot of you have probably taken psychedelics at some point, and there's hopefully the animals showed up for you where you're almost growling because you feel your your connection to everything so deeply. So that's a place you can live. You don't have to do that only on psychedelics. Um, and so we're learning slowly how to access unbending intent. It's an elusive thing to people that don't have it. They don't even know what that means. But when you discover it, it changes everything. So it's just something to really come to terms with, that most of us don't have it. Um, but when you have it, there are no days like bad days or like bad mornings or anything. Like, you just wake up out of bed as excited to get up as you are to go to bed. Then there's no, you're not even going to bed really. You're kind of like doing this incredible dreaming, and so you don't even know what you want to do. Do you want to do dreaming, or do you want to go build houses or whatever? Like, it doesn't matter. A vacation is the same as a court case. They're just as exciting to you. and that's so liberating. But it takes away the birthday high, or none of those things were real. That was all just a big letdown, right? Oh, it's my fucking birthday, yay! Yeah, let's celebrate the fact that that we're counting, and that that you were indoctrinated into a system of slavery, and that you don't know about it. It's the holidays. All of these things are a distraction. It doesn't matter what you do, but once once you unlock that and you quit living sort of like in the linear way that the world is, you quit paying attention, you quit tracking those things, right? So you become very like a Zen master, where there's no clutter on your in your calendar, there's no clutter in your home. You don't take on any of that stuff, because it just saturates you and it hooks you for life if you stay in that place. um, but you can come back to it all, like one of the most powerful sorcerers in the world would watch soap operas, and that's how he spent his time during the day, because he was a night person. He was really That's where his power was, and he was probably the most powerful sorcerer I've ever heard of. It doesn't matter what you do once you're free, but until you're free, you're gonna want to stalk yourself and come to terms with these things. So go out and walk, and just keep walking, and walk some more. And if you change your diet, you won't be dehydrated, and you won't even need to have water when you walk. I didn't know this, but it's all new to me. But man, once you realize that we're not supposed to eat certain things, and you just really get down to what it is, and you quit treating food like it's a drug, and you only eat the thing that's good for you and nothing else. Um, Holy shit! Like there's nothing in the way. And so I get why there's so much resistance to it, because everybody is truly on the subconscious level. They're terrified of the freedom that will come, because we are scared of being free. So that's okay. It's okay to admit that. It's okay to come to terms with it. And you are scared to be free because there's a part of you that's saying, no, I'm not going along. And so you want to talk to that part and get it to come along. And that's somewhere in your chakra line, and it's in your trauma field. And so you're going to figure out what the trauma is and where it's at. And, you know, um, we all have so many issues. And as much as it's fun to experience all the things we already know, eh, it will get old, and you will want fresh experiences, because we all know the feeling of going to do something that used to do it for us, and it doesn't do it for us anymore. Coming to terms with these things is huge, right? I actually am happy for the people where it stops working. They're the ones that are going to revitalize their lives. The other ones that can just keep drinking the same beer and watching the same shit, saying the same things, listening to the same radio station, that shit ain't gonna do it. You gotta shut that shit off and throw that shit away. Quit poisoning yourself. It's there comes a point. Now, don't get me wrong though, on your way to getting there, have fucking the time of your life. Because that's how you liberate yourself. You need to enjoy the time you're in. So if you're partying, have fun. Make it amazing by taking care of yourself while you're doing it. Balance your being by doing the things that you do when you're taking care of yourself while you're doing other things. And then it'll be more sustainable, and you'll realize, "Oh, I didn't want it to be all fucked up. Like I did want it sustainability, and I don't want to be extreme." And you start the pendulum stops swinging, and you start realizing, "Oh shit, I don't even want to do any of this at all." It was never enjoyable like I thought, because I was always trying to make it like that one time, or that other time. Like we don't have a lot to pull from, because that's like that Pink Floyd song. Nobody told us to run, and everyone's just sitting there going, they still don't know what to do. I heard the song, and I reacted as soon as I heard it, and I've been running. I'm in a sprint. Um, but I'm also doing the tortoise thing, right? So I'm going back. I'm willing to go back, because I missed a lot of stuff. I have a lot to undo and bring into balance, and so But I understood that song, and I understood, and I understand it more now than ever. So let's all go back to the earth. Let's eat from the earth instead of eating things that are made from man. If man intervened upon it, then don't eat it. Just eat the things that are available from the earth. She will heal you. And then I put people in the earth, and I've gone into the earth to spend time. And she will, if you're willing to be vulnerable and you're willing to let go of the pain that you have inside that you may not even know about, she will take it from you, even if you don't fully believe, or see or receive that. Um, and so I invite you to consider getting to know the earth so that when it does come time for your healing and for your ego death, that you'll have a way, and a beautiful way to heal. Um, walk on her, put your feet on her, lay on her, get to know her, and don't ask her for anything. You know, ask her what you can do for her, and she'll tell you. She does want us to be okay, and and it's individual, right? So I'm okay, you guys, because I'm not at odds with dying, so I'm free. It's just you have to no longer be, um, you know, trying to uphold something. There's nothing to uphold. There's no control. Um, it doesn't mean you don't intend with every fiber of your being to live as long as possible. And that's how I know I'm not going to die, because I've been shown. And so by being willing to die, I was shown I'm not going to die. Therefore, none of it matters at all. Therefore, I'm even more free. And I want that for everybody. I found it in the strangest places. Some of the people that found freedom are not the people you would think. But they're not willing to look at other parts of it. So it's an unsustainable type of freedom, but at least it's freedom. And so I think that's how you get there, is you start with some type of freedom. Start climbing your way into different types of freedoms, because there's all kinds. When you stop having group think impact how you perceive things, right? Then you can start to do actual research, unbiased research about the way the world works and what's actually going on. And that's a whole world of information that will unlock your perception. And it's kind of intense. You have to go through the pills. You have to go from the blue to the red to the black to the white. And each one has a stage of really intensity. And it gets scary to go through the black stage, but when you get to through the black stage, the white stage is such a breakthrough. And everyone goes through this in whatever way they'll go through it. And there's different versions of this within different types of hypnosis. And some of the most powerful shamans I know are still hypnotized by the world media. They don't know that they're being totally lied to about things, um, and they're not willing to even consider it. So it's crazy how how much hypnosis exists. And so I guess that's even more the reason. Like I knew that we were being lied to right away when all this started, because I fucking asked the birds. I don't know how to explain it, but there's a different song that they sing when different things are going on, and it was the most joyous. You gotta understand, like, this, what this all needed to happen. This is the most dopest thing that could have happened. Was it woke people up, and it gave us a platform now in which we can make a transition. So it was well thought out by the creator, or however this all goes down. It's such an incredible story. It's the greatest story ever. And I want everyone to just like relish in it and know it and quit being at odds or trying to uphold something. There's nothing to know. I mean, there's everything to know, but there's nothing to be attached to. And then you'll be free, and your mind will be free. You'll be like, oh, I'm not a fucking idiot anymore. I actually can think for myself, and you pat yourself on the back, and then you'll feel really good. But right now you have anxiety if you haven't done that because you're like trying to uphold a reality that's collapsing in front of your face because it never existed. It was always an illusion. They've been spinning some serious witchcraft on us forever. You know, all the fairy tales we were told as a kid. Why is it like that? It's not a joke, you guys. It's finally coming out. But we've been fully hypnotized and indoctrinated in a way that's beyond what most people are willing to consider. And so the basics: heal your soul, quit letting people tell you how things work. you, there's so many things that you're not being able to research because you're unbiased. So there's a lot of you who have worked through that, and I commend you. The trick there is not to get, self-righteous about the fact that you did that, right? So that's what's happening. We're watching a lot of self-righteousness occur because people are like waking up and they're going through their self-righteous stage. So we have to just be at peace with that too. Like this, it's a reflection. We need to see that. We say thank you to them so that I don't have to do that anymore. I, thank you for passing that baton or baton reversal, whatever. I'm good. I'm no longer going to uphold that part of the matrix story that was given to me, and I'm going to unlatch even more and really move into the being able to see it um, in a practical way, right? Because a lot of people get really spiritual and bypass, and they're just like, oh, everything, it's key to be able to have a conversation with anybody. If you start to get to the place where you're, oh, I can't talk to you because you're not far along enough, and just jump in on all of it. Let's all just let's get into it. There's no reason to for any of us to get to the place where it can't go on. You can always find something to talk about, and then we'll find out what kind of memory demons we each of us have, and because we'll start to trigger each other, and that's a great place to learn about your shadow. So don't be afraid of challenges. Pursue them, enjoy them. I seek out challenging work. I seek out situations that'll be the most confronting, the scariest for me, because that's how I got over the anxiety of all of it. And that works in every application. If you're willing to be honest with yourself and you're willing to work with teachers or people that are willing to help you to see, that, yeah. So, in the meantime, when you start to restore your nervous system, beautiful things start to happen, and your sleep gets very balanced um, at first, and you start to really value your sleep on a huge level. It becomes, you end up wanting to sleep alone, even if you have a partner, and because it becomes a really sacred place for you to restore. It's like going back into the womb. Um, and so learning to be able to create that space, and even if you can't, just giving yourself like 10 minutes a day to go and be in a very, to be with the earth on some level, whether you're just laying down in your bed but feeling the earth down there, and let her hold you, and learn to let her hold you. She will. She always is. She's always trying. We're the ones that have lost connection. We're the ones who have blocks in our chakra line. We're the ones that are needing to move that energy in order to make that connection with her. And when we do that, we're going to have just such incredible breakthroughs. Um, and so we need sustainable ways and means to feel whole, and so that we can move toward wholeness. And it's not that you're not whole now, because in a part of you already is, and all of this is played out as like a contract within a theater that is a magical story, and everything's good. So you don't have to do anything if you don't want to. In fact, I mean, you almost have to get to the place where you can let it all go so that you can start over anyway. So, however, your mind will trick you to get to the place where you really start to pursue your dreams. Not the dreams you were told to have, but your actual longing, right? We were taught to think our longing applies to our partner, our job, our kids. None of that. Our longing has to do with a very abstract and beautiful purpose. Our longing, we long to return to source. And shamans do that. They make the journey through dreaming. They use unconscious dreams as a platform to move their perception far, and then they trick themselves into waking up in that dream in distant locations and remaining there. And that's how they learn to make changes at night or at any point in the day. It doesn't matter. Just when they go into that type of dreaming, they're able to make significant discoveries. Dreaming is not just some unconscious layer. So it's important to learn how to earth and ground if you're interested in learning dreaming, because it's no joke. It's a real portal, and it leads to an absolute change. And because the world's in such a unique time, these kind of things are going to become accessible. And so it's time to really consider what you value and prioritize. And so if you can find a way to take good care of yourself, it's worth it, because there's a lot of dope shit that's about to come and become available. We're moving into such a dynamic opportunity, and it's just happening. So it's beautiful. There's a lot that the basics offer. Um, Even how do you walk, not just what you're looking at, but really what is your gait. And so I've done workshops where everybody just shows us their gait, and then we ask you to do a funny gait or just do any gait you want. And so it gets really, everyone gets relaxed, and we turn on the music and we end up dancing together, and everyone dances with each other. And it's really powerful. Um, but yeah, so shamans, a lot of shamans will ask you to dance for them. If you're going to be a student, they say, show me your dance. And it's not, there's no music, but your dance is your power, right? And so not everyone's ready to really face that in them, but it's beautiful. It's worth it. We are creatures that we're very affectionate, and we're very connected to all things, and it's through dance, through celebration, through expression, through full expression that we become whole, right? And so a partner can be a massive catalyst for that. It can be a huge way to heal. It can also be an absolute nightmare to try to evolve with another being. Um, and so in reality, it ends up not really working ever unless you're both whole. And then you realize, wow, if we're both whole, why would we ever risk hurting each other by being together? And so it gets tricky. But there are beautiful ones that have figured it out, and I honor those that have. And yeah, I'm honored, and I'm working on trying to find a way to heal so many things within my being every day, that I can be whole, and not that I'm not to try to make it okay for my partner, but I'm, and just having to come to terms with it. There's nothing to do, nothing in my life has anything to do, none of the imbalances in my being have anything to do with anyone else. It never did. It was just a lack of boundaries, a lack of communication, and fear. So when you stop being afraid of everything, then eventually you finally find your real voice, even though you thought you'd already found it. There's more there, and it's tied to our longing. So I'm here to help you guys to find the voice of your longing, so that you are going to talk about this now rather than on your deathbed, because that's how crazy life is. It can just get buried. So let's talk about it now. You know, we're We are dark, mysterious creatures. There is a very mysterious side to us, and the old sorcerers found that out, and they made full use of aspects of our witchcraft and sorcery that is so it's terrifying. If you know the stories, it's absolutely insane what they were able to do, and their unwillingness to leave forced them to do some things that were very strange. And some of them have figured out how to stick around in strange ways and are still amongst the new sorcerers of our times. So, um, as crazy as that sounds, there are pitfalls to um, getting into intense shamanic training because it's tainted with a very adventurous, daring, reckless mood that for thousands of years uh, dominated, Central America and was just unimaginable how much power and beauty and balance, but also just devastating amounts of uh, very unique type of slavery that occurred amongst those that had the power to enslave men. It wasn't anything we could even imagine. Um, so sorcery is no joke in that respect, and so people go and do these ayahuasca journeys and stuff, and they go down to South America and they get attachments, and then they don't get them taken care of, and then they become, unfortunately, they can become unwilling to get it taken care of because the attachment's telling them not to or something, and it's just it's hard to watch. And so I hope people get help. I hope people stop, just keep doing drugs. There's no need anymore. The energy shifted. Um, but it's okay. I mean, I get it. I very much get it, and I want you to go. I want you to live your life, and I want you to be honest with yourself and where you're at. And that's what I'm here for too. I'm not asking you guys to do the crazy shit I get into. I'm offering an opportunity for you to come clean with yourself, so that you can figure out, hey, you know what? I'm heading in a direction I didn't want to go, and I can help you sort of reset that, right? And that's because my teachers helped me with that, and it works. It's just sometimes we need somebody that is truly practical but can see, because there's always a solution. And I think we just isolate ourselves and we think, oh, I can only hire these stupid therapists that don't know anything, and I'm sick of paying them, and we give up. No, if you're hearing me talk now, then you're starting to you're gravitated towards people that can help, right? So you don't need, it's, there's just, once you reprioritize what you're going to do with your time here on earth, then there's nothing else to do but but fully extract yourself from all that shit. Don't work for a company, I mean, don't go quit your job either, but go find a way to strategize a ways and means in which you can um, heal your chakras while still being a slave. It's possible. I did it. And the breakthroughs are significant. I remember I was in a meeting, in a huge meeting in the room when I first got the most. I had, complete, someone would call it a flashback, like a permanent flashback or something. But there are times when silence just comes to me. I don't not mean for it to happen, and I am absolutely moved beyond the place in which I can have thoughts. But luckily, I've learned how to cover that up. Nobody has any clue that it's happening to me, and a part of me is able to function, and another part of me is able to ride that shift of perception all the way to where it's taking me. And the polarity is so powerful. And the breakthrough that happens when you realize that you can do that, that we can multitask on that level, takes away all the issues around where to live or how to be, and nothing is any longer any anything but a miracle. And so then you realize, oh, we are in a dream. And the dream is a lesson platform, and it's significant. So I hope that everyone does what they need to heal. And sometimes that is the vacation, and sometimes that is being realistic about, but a lot of people go on vacation and then they create an itinerary that drains them and they come back and they need a vacation. Y'all crazy, man. You don't know how to travel. And I don't think you ever did. No one taught you how to be free, right? So you're all just robots for the most part. There's a way to follow a very specific feeling throughout every action you're doing, and if you're willing to be in place for it, it'll always reveal itself. That way you don't need to plan things the way you needed to. It's still cool to plan things, uh, but let spirit guide it. Start letting things happen in a more magical way, and they will. um, Thank you guys. um, Basics: walk, feet on the earth, dance, breathe. You can always get your breath work more and more dialed. Practice the Wim Hof method. Practice. Uh, I'll start offering some really cool ways to work with the breath soon. So, but be well. Take care of yourself. Uh, find a way to laugh. Uh, Comedy. Do what you need to laugh. Do what you need to feel that connection. Whether it's your favorite songs. Find a way to cry. Find a way to cry. Find a way to experience exhilaration. Go and get it. Get Go and do the thing that's going to exhilarate your being. You know what to do. There are things that do it for you. Make them happen, right? And then eventually you won't be relying on those things anymore. You'll be able to be exhilarated in lots of new ways. You're not as far away from where you want to be as you think you are. And the sooner you start coming to terms with that gun, it's time to run. Uh, let's let's do it together. We're all in this in a sense together, and yet we're absolutely alone. Um, but there's support. There's support that you can't see, and it's support that takes time to come to know. It's you have helpers, you have ancestors, and you have support that you maybe haven't discovered. And when you have your ego deaths, which there'll be many, and your shamanic sort of, it doesn't have to be shamanic, but whatever moves you into the place in which you're got real with yourself about your death, about your feelings, about your dreams, about your longing. So all this emotion is gonna come out, and that's beautiful, and that's heavy stuff you want to get rid of. Money is also really heavy. Um, most of the things you buy you don't need, and so most of you are working for money you don't need, and then you're buying things that create anxiety because you know that you're just spending unconscious money on unconscious activities and unconscious things that aren't giving you what you want. You'd actually be better off in a jail cell until you get out of that pattern. But I don't want that to have to be your story. But at the same time, I'd rather it be your story than you never come to terms with your unhappiness. It sucks. But that's the only way to get to happiness, is to realize that you're not happy. And then knowing that there are people that are very happy. They move beyond happiness into the levels of joy that are transcending. That's important. Um, and it's no joke. Joy is so powerful, it can take you out. You have to figure out how to handle those kind of awakenings. People flip out and end up not okay. And then a lot of people think they can take their ego along while they have these transcending experiences. They don't realize that ego death means ego death. So then all this shit goes down. It's the perfect door opens. All this, it's all just there, and they cling. They cling to their to a story, to a lie, and that they choose the prison, and they go to doctors and say, "What's wrong with me?" But they knew. We all know it happens a lot. We even when someone gets cancer and they know the truth about chemo and they know how it all works and they know that all they have to do is alkaline their body and enter an alkaline clinic and that yeah that even when the people that know, when they panic and that doctor lays that truth on them and they show them these tests and oh, well, we already did the biopsy and it's already spread, and because they don't even tell you they're going to cut into the biopsy, like all of these things are lies, and the people that really know what's going on know they're lies, but these doctors don't know. They're trained to think that this is okay. They don't know that cancer is acidosis. um, so this is going to be hard to wake up to all the lies, you guys, but they're in everything, and they're in the way in which we interact with ourselves, with our loved ones. How real are we? How authentic are we? It's so difficult to fully show up feeling all of it and not cover up the anxiety of the emotions that exist amongst those that we love and those that we're struggling with. Family, it's real shit. So to master these things is no joke, but I think that would be the most purpose you could discover, is how to get to the place where you're no longer have any anxiety whatsoever, that you're no longer letting the way other people act affect you, and you're no longer dancing to someone else's song. And so you're just sovereign and you're honest. Uh, it works. It'll freeze you. If people aren't going to take it the way you would, I mean, it's going to be tricky in that respect, right? So that's where a lot of people, they can't leave their social circles, so they're not willing to fully come to terms with how unconscious they are and their friends are, and therefore they're not really willing to change and revitalize and reestablish different relationships that are whole. And but I think it's really good to be alone. I think it's almost necessary. Um, in the Castaneda books, one of the things Don Juan made Carlos do toward the end, or toward a certain stage in his life, because part of him was really lucid and part of him was super dense, and that's what shamans do in the hardcore shamanism, is they sort of have to work with you in two different parts of your being, because uh, they're showing you things you're not ready to integrate, so they have to sort of isolate it. It sounds intense, and it is, but um, he had to go check into um, the dingiest hotel he could find and stay there by himself until he no longer cared that he was there, that he no longer was restless or sought company or was at odds, with uh, the state of his condition. And so it was a way for him to, for how difficult that was for him because of the way he was, how dense he was in that perception he was in. The breakthrough for him was significant when he saw something outside that he was able to align his being with, and he was no longer in the, it was he when he figured out how to connect to the whole, no matter where you are. And then that's the game changer. Some people do this in jail. A lot of people do it in jail, but then they go into a religious archetype usually because they did it through the Bible, and they, you know, it's hard to. Some people intuit and use the Bible in a holistic way as a manual, but most people end up getting hooked to the religious archetypes. So it's okay. It's all beautiful, and we're all here to fulfill these contracts and uh, make peace with our existence and have as much fun as possible in the process, and um, love each other and be kind to each other, but also be real and don't take any shit. Don't hand over your power. Uh, Take care of you because nobody else is, no matter how much you think they are. Uh, we're all very selfish creatures, and so the only way to heal is to take care of ourselves so much that we're willing to let go of this whole program. That we're willing to go on a pilgrimage and be that lighthouse, you know, in a new sea. You open a new door, a new neural pathway. Um, and people need that in all varieties and walks of life, right? So if you can be that in your household, you can be that in your job, with your workers and your friends, and or in your friend group, and start to become a source of uh, clarity, and you are holding a very particular type of affection for everyone that's more sustainable, that's more sort of wise, and isn't, uh, just in that autopilot. People will really be affected by that space, and they'll realize it's just it's your contribution can be without words. That's what I'm trying to say. Your contribution is in your heart. Let your heart come through your eyes, through your words, even when you're just saying, "That's a lovely duvet cover you have." Or we can switch even when we're talking to people that aren't wanting to have the conversations that we would naturally have. We can be creative and bridge the gap. Go to 12D. In that movie Lucy, where she's in 12D and she's like, I remember, right? So when you really, really remember and know that every moment that's ever occurred is still occurring right now, then your birth is occurring. The first time your mom held you is occurring. The first time you felt pure affection outside of your family is happening right now. And it's happening to the person you had it happen with right now. And it will echo in eternity forever. And that's the nowness that we seek, right? So you erase your personal history strategically. You recapitulate your life so that there's nothing that, almost like it didn't happen. And by doing that, you're not referencing your past. There's no blueprint. You're a pioneer now. You've set out on your own. Every day is new. You don't do anything you don't want to do. You live your life to the fullest, but you're preparing to live a long ass life. You start saving your energy, quit giving it away to stupid people. Take care of yourself. Gravitate to the people that are conscious, and people that are, there's no picking these people. Okay, the people that you're drawn to, just follow it. Stop upholding relationships that are toxic. And I mean all of them. And it's life and death. I know that sounds extreme, but it is. You have to take care of your energy because there's so much that's about to become available to you. So much that you didn't know about. And so you've been living a life assuming that it was just going to be a certain way, but it's not. And you're going to wish you had taken better care of yourself. I wish I'd taken better care of myself. And I've taken really incredible care of myself. So it's okay. But you can get a lot done in 2 years once you realize how to fix yourself or how to make this massive adjustment to your being. So consider that. What else is there to do? Everyone else has proven that you can work a normal job and watch football and eat Doritos and or cook meth or all those things have been done. Why would you do anything that's already been done? Is that what life is about? Just doing the same shit that other people do? High fiving on the way? I don't think so. I think everyone's about to realize that there's been something missing in our lives, and we can't live without it anymore. So we're done. We're gonna stop lending our energy to this particular way in which we exist, and we're gonna start manifesting a much more holistic way by cleaning our life one part at a time. Pick one thing, work on it, and then go to the next one and don't drop the other one and just do it incrementally. Change your life. It's that easy. But you're going to have to hear things like this being said over and over until you start to make an action on it, most likely. That's okay. That's how it worked for me too. I was willing to excel in all the areas that I was excited about. I wasn't willing to clean up my life in the areas that confronted me. And so I found excuses and ways to maintain this lopsided, you know, way about going about things. And I was just crazy enough to pull it off. But it's not sustainable. So, you eventually come to terms with your priorities and you start to make the appropriate adjustments that will make it sustainable for you. So you start spending more and more time with your feet on the earth, walking on the earth, laying on the earth. You can even dream about the earth. You just create your own visualizations and turn off your thoughts and imagine the places you would like to see in this world. You know how many beautiful places in nature exist in this earth? I mean, just absolute heaven is here, and so is absolute hell. They both exist here, and a lot of people think that they found this place that's pretty heavenly, that is a false reality that is about to fracture, and I feel for them. Um, I mean, there will be multiple timelines. They'll be able to play that out, but the pain of the hoarding of money. Again, money's a heavy thing to carry, so there's no reason to save it. If you have money, just do it. Quit your fucking job and get your shit together, because shit's about to get crazy. And manifest a dope way to live, a cool job that once you're a new person. I mean, if you can make it for a year or something, just literally heal. If you have that kind of savings, there's no reason to work because we're moving into something incredible. And so, even if you decide and want to work when things shift, um, then you can do something so much doper than what you've been doing, and you'll have healed so many parts of your being. Um, but if you don't have that option, then you got to dig even deeper, which is even doper, because then you're going to be even that much more powerful. So take your challenge, embrace it, uh, and enjoy it. Like, wake up extra early and get excited about it. I hope everyone stays really in a good place. See you next time.